Hello everyone, I will be providing you the update for this week for Capstone Project 734. We are Group 7 and my team members are Brittany, Justin, Anna, Yavande and Man. My name is Amir and I will be providing you with the update as follows. So our project refers to the sum of all products, services and the results that will be provided throughout the project. The scope management plan for the upgrade of system used at Earth's Kitchen plus Bar Restaurant. It aims to define and manage the project scope throughout the life cycle. So the project manager assumes overall responsibility for scope management, while specific responsibilities are assigned to individual listed in this plan for the scope management plan. Uh, it outlines the process of collecting the project requirements and defining the scope baseline, which we will be working on as a team, and that would include the scope statement, the WBS, which is the work breakdown structure, and the WBS dictionary, which is to be made. Scope change management is an important aspect which is required because of any changes that the project scope to follow a formal management or change processes. Therefore, proposed changes are also evaluated against these project objectives, benefits, constraints, and feasibility. So the approved project are going to be documented and then communicated to the stakeholders and then finally integrated into the project plan as necessary. This is what we have decided as a team and how our scope management plan would look like. So according to us, also assumptions or scope change control measures would be implemented throughout the project to ensure that it stays within the defined scope boundaries, and the changes or deviation from the scope will be evaluated, documented and managed according to the change management process. So it will be monitored and integrated throughout the procedures included in scope control. Talking about assumptions made during the scope management plan, it will be transferred to the risk management plan or any issues that arise during the development of the scope management plan, and everything will be documented. Even the new risk which would be identified during the planning process, it will be recorded as well. So talking about schedule management plan, the schedule management plan is crucial for establishing the roadmap of timelines to track the progress of our project and the project activities. So why we are making this? Because it would help us determine the order of task, the time and duration, and also the allocation of resources, where exactly what needs to be done or what needs to go ahead, which will result in a realistic schedule for our project. So the two key points which are emphasized during this schedule planning for during the brainstorming session were the firstly the sequence tasks should be organized in a logical order, ensuring the dependencies between the task and they are identified correctly. So why this? Because this enables the formation of the correct critical path for the project and overall timeline. Secondly, duration estimate should be realistic. That is what we have like majorly focused on, and they should be feasible as well. So considering the complexity of each task, this criteria would be dependent on the previous one. So existing data from similar projects, we are going to research about that so that we can gain insights during our task durations. So talking about cost management plan in this slide, when developing the cost management plan, we thought that it would be really essential to consider resource allocation and associated variables such as hourly rates, the maintenance fees and utilities. The resources including personal and equipment, they will be accounted throughout the project. Moreover, cost planning should include an evaluation of risk. So that is what we are focusing on this particular subject that is knowledge area, that is cost management plan. So failure to consider such potential risk can lead to unexpected expenses for our project. So it will have a huge impact on the project's overall cost also. Therefore, it is very crucial to incorporate the associated cost of the risk management activities when estimating the project cost. So this is one of the major factor which will be focusing on the cost management plan. The risk management plan, it would be a critical step for our project. Before initiating a risk management plan, what we thought was important was to establish a solid foundation for our project, including the WBS, the budget and the schedule, which I explained in the previous slides. Risk management roles and responsibilities would be outlined in this particular knowledge area, with the project manager typically responsible for conducting the risk meetings. Also, the risk management plan or the risk template that will be combined, starting with an assessing overall level of risk. This assessment is usually done on a scale from 0 to 100, where the score below 16 indicates low risk. The middle or the medium thing would include 15 and 45, and then above 45, anything above 45 would be the high risk. So the risk management plan includes several sections. The top three risks identified are focusing on those with high impact and high probability for the project. So this plan usually outlines the approach taken to identify and manage risk, including the risk identification process and techniques. I think risk qualification and prioritization are addressed according to the project, and that's what we did in this particular knowledge area. We tried to utilize a probability impact matrix to prioritize tasks, so that the risk monitoring is very crucial, as we all know, and particularly the high impact areas, the high probability risk that requires close monitoring. So it is the most important factor we have used or we have brainstormed during this discussing about this knowledge area. The stakeholder management plan. So this begins with the identification of stakeholders and creation of stakeholder register, which we are really planning to go ahead with. So our document would include essential information such as stakeholder names, their organizational positions, the locations, the contact details, and the roles in their project. So this information would be gathered throughout the research, which we'll be doing in the coming weeks. Additionally, the stakeholder register contains an assessment information which involves identifying the phase of the project lifecycle where each stakeholder has most influence and impact, as well as their major requirements and expectations are like noted down. So that is what we have decided. Also, why this information? Because it will be obtained using the stakeholder analysis metrics such as the interest in the power grid, which we already made previously in our project charter, and also which would allow the stakeholders to compare again each other. Okay, so furthermore, talking about stakeholder register, it includes a classification such as internal and external. So internal stakeholders refers to the individual within the organization, and the external would be those who are outside the organization and who still have an impact on the project development. So this was our basic plan for the stakeholder management process.